Hello everyone, my name is Michael. I am a developer community manager for the Hubs team, and this video goes over the process for adding, updating, and removing a custom domain from your hub. I highly recommend you follow along with the documentation linked in the comments below. Let's get started. In order to deploy a custom domain to our hub, we need to make sure that we have access to a hub with this feature enabled. Since I'm making this video before the feature is released, you'll see that I'm working with a development instance, moran004.dev.myhubs.net. However, make sure that you have signed up for a plan with this feature enabled. You can check our documentation if you have any questions about what is enabled on your plan. Before we can deploy our custom domain, we want to make sure that that desired domain is properly configured before we attach it to our hub. Now, this process can vary widely depending on the domain hosting service you are using. For today, I'm going to be working with Route 53 on AWS, and I'm going to be specifically configuring a CNAME record for my domain, which will allow me to point a subdomain to my hub. Inside of AWS, I'm going to go to Route 53. Then I'm going to go to Hosted Zones to select the domain that I want to configure. For today, I'm going to be working with devmoran.com. Fantastic. In here, I want to create that CNAME record by clicking Create Record. And then first I want to select CNAME as the record type. I'll need to put in a subdomain. For today, let's say hubs. So my final URL will read hubs.devmoran.com. And then I need to point it to the native host name of my hub. For today, that's moran004.dev.myhubs.net. As you can see, I am working with a development instance. Your instance will not have that .dev as part of it. Great, and then I'm going to click Create Records, and I'll see up here that it is taking a moment to create records. It says that after creation has complete, it will take about 60 seconds for this effect to take place. Fantastic. The next step is to grab an authentication token, which will allow us to properly attach that custom domain to our hub. I'm going to grab this authentication token from my subscription dashboard. Now, I have to do this in the developer tools, and on Firefox, I can open this by going to Tools, Browser Tools, and Web Developer Tools. You'll see I have the console pop up here, and I can either grab the authentication token by running a script that you can find in the documentation in the console, or by going to the Storage tab. Let's run the script from the documentation here in the console. We'll see I have outputted a very large string, which I should save to be used later to deploy our custom domain. Great. Now to actually deploy this custom domain, I need to use a terminal on my computer. I'm going to run the following command: curl -x patch-h, and then in quotation marks we'll write turkeyauthtoken : and then we want to copy and paste that value from our subscription dashboard, which I'll do here. I'm going to close the quotation marks, and then also in quotation marks, I'll type https : / and then the native domain of my hub. If you'll remember for me, that was moran004.dev.myhubs.net. Then I'll type /API /ITA, then /custom-domain $2_domain equals, and then the value of your desired domain. From AWS, I set this up as hubs.devmoran.com. Great, and then I'll close my quotation marks and hit enter. And we should see it will take a moment before outputting. Great. It will let me know that I've successfully changed from my native host, moran004.dev.myhubs.net, to hubs.devmoran.com. Now, it may take a couple of minutes for this to actually complete, so I'll wait a couple minutes here before testing. Fantastic. I've waited a couple of minutes, so let's test to see whether the domain change has taken place. I'm going to type hubs.dev devmoran.com into my browser. When I hit enter, we'll see that I've successfully gone to my hub. I could check on the back end to make sure that this in fact is, but you can see that I can successfully create a room. I can connect to the admin panel if I would like to. Oh, it's going to ask me to sign in, but we have successfully attached a new domain to our hub. Now let's go over the process if I want to update that domain. And first I'm going to go ahead and quickly create a new CNAME record that I want to transfer to. In here, I'll type the subdomain hubs2, select CNAME as the record, and then type Moran 004.dev.myhubs.net as the value. I'm going to create that record, and then we'll go back to the command line to change that domain. So the process is almost identical, except there is a little bit extra we have to add if we want to update our domain. And that's going to be in the last part of this command right here. So you'll see we've typed https://moran004.dev.myhubs.net/API/ITA/custom domain ? Then if we want to change our domain rather than deploying it for the first time, I first need to let the command know which domain I'm intending to change from. So after that question mark, I'm going to add from_domain equals, and then the current domain name. So right now that current domain name is hubs.devmoran.com. And then I'm going to add an and then we have the to domain. So initially from the last command that was hubs.devmoran. Now I want to have it direct to hubs2.devmoran. So I've updated this command. I'm going to hit return. We should say it will take a moment. Great. And now we see that it's confirmed that it's changed from hubs.devmoran.com to hubs2.devmoran.com. I'll give it a couple of minutes before testing that change. Fantastic. It's been a couple of minutes, so let's check to see if we have successfully updated our domain. I'm going to go back to my browser and type in hubs2.devmoran.com. We'll see that it has properly updated to direct to my hub. If I just go to hubs.devmoran, I should see a not found error. So we've successfully updated that domain, but what if we want to remove and revert back to our native host completely? Well, the command is pretty similar to the last time, so I'm going to pull up that previous command. The only difference is that we'll want to leave to_domain empty. So after to_domain equals, we'll leave nothing. We'll just close it off with that closing quotation mark. Now remember, we do need to update our from domain to hubs2 now. If I run that command, we should see that it has confirmed that it has gone from hubs2.devmoran.com to just empty curly brackets, which indicates that it's accepting traffic at its original domain name, Moran004. All right, it's been a couple of minutes, so let's check if I am now accepting traffic back at moran004.dev.myhubs.net. Great, looks like everything is working properly. If I check hubs2.devmoran.com, I should see a not found error. That's all correct. So looks like I have successfully undeployed my custom domain. All right, so that concludes this video on adding a custom domain to your hub. As I mentioned earlier, your experience configuring your desired domain may differ depending on the hosting service you're using. I recommend checking back regularly to the documentation as we continue to find and document the process using other types of domains and other domain hosting services. I will be linking to the next video about how to deploy a custom client, which you first need to have configured a custom domain to do. But I also recommend you look at a lot of our other blogs, tutorials, and documentation for more information about how to use your hub. Thanks so much.